How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to the San Jose Sharks franchise mode, episode number 4 here on NHL 23, headed into the 2023 draft. Now, as you can already tell by the title of this video, this could be a generational draft. Bedard, Mishkov, Fantilli, so much great talent in this draft. We don't know if we'll get them, but we know that it will be a generational draft, and hopefully we can find the right move to trade up. But recapping last episode first, it was a wild postseason. We were almost the team of destiny, a team that shouldn't have even been in the postseason to begin with. Down 3-1 in round number 1, we win in 7 against the Oilers. Round number 2, we take down the Ducks in 5. In round number 3, on the verge of being swept 3-0 by the Jets, we win 2 in a row, push it to 6, but lose in Game 6 overtime to the Jets. The Jets go on to get swept out of the Stanley Cup final, but it was a crazy run. Jason Zucker led the league in postseason scoring with 26 points in 18 games. It was really an incredible ride. But now headed into the postseason, we got to think, what is our identity going to be moving forward? Are we going to continue to sell? Have we done enough selling? Now we can draft and go to free agency. Do we have enough of the core to add more pieces, or are we not even close to having that core? The biggest question is what's up with Timo Meier, because although we'd love to bring Timo Meier back, in the real world, he'd probably sign a deal like 6 years at, 9 to 10 million. Here in EA land, for 6 years, he wants $15 million. That's definitely not happening for a guy who scored 57 points. That's not going to happen. Now, if we trade him as an RFA with some picks, well, that's definitely a lot of value. Aside from that, and by the way, if we have him off the books and $20.865 million to play with, and only Knyzhov, Zucker, and a few other guys to touch, well, then we could definitely be players in free agency as well. But do we really want to go all in? I don't think yet. I think right now we'd be looking at the upside, low risk, high reward kind of guys, seeing what this team has and reevaluating sometime next season. But for now, it's time for the offseason, it's time for the draft. We have a couple of first round picks. We have Nashville's first round pick, and we have our first round pick. Those picks are projected. They are at 18th and 29th overall, which of course is not quite Mishkov, Bedard, Fantilli, but it would be a solid enough player around that range. A guy 2-bar medium elite, or a guy who's closer to guaranteed top 6, 3 bars medium elite over here. There are a few interesting pieces. Or we can even think about trading into the top 10, looking at a guy like Zach Benson, or we really go all in and try to get a top 3 pick if a team wants to trade their pick. So let's see what the assistant general managers had to say about all of that after the postseason, diving into the comments. So in the comments, there were a lot of suggestions, mainly around what we should do with Timo Meier. Also, lots of love to Danny DeKeyser, players like that. We'll be doing the X Factors at the end of this episode, by the way, if you're curious about a lot of suggestions were left for adding X Factors. For Timo Meier, some people were suggesting maybe qualifying him as an RFA and seeing if we can get compensation draft picks, like multiple first-round picks for that price tag. Unfortunately, RFA compensation is still glitched in franchise mode, so we wouldn't be able to do that because we would literally lose him for nothing. So, Golden Gamer says, the Sharks would not give up, and that is what you love to see. Great job once again, Data. Thank you, my friend. Not a whole lot to do in preparation for the draft. I would try and see if you could trade up for maybe the 2nd or 3rd overall pick for a shot at Bedard in the draft, but if it's not possible, that's fine. My main thing is with free agency. A couple of guys did stand out to me. Obviously, there's guys like O'Reilly, Tarasenko, stuff like that in case Meier doesn't sign, but that's a bit too risky. What I was more looking at are a few guys who might do well on the team's 2nd, 3rd, 4th lines, and one of those guys could be Michael Bunting. 86 overall, 2nd liner paired with Couture doesn't sound like a bad option. He seems like he would do very well on the team, especially as a younger player at 27. Speaking of another somewhat younger player, Jonathan Drouin is my next suggestion. Another great 2nd or 3rd line guy that you could put with someone like Zucker or even with Logan Couture as well. A little depth always helps. Also, a defenseman in Gostisbehere wouldn't be too bad as well, though he's not on my top priority list as the defense was already doing pretty decent. One last guy to suggest, and a similar idea to Jumbo Joe, and that is Phil the Thrill Kessel. Always loved that guy. One of my all-time favorite players back when I used to watch him as a young lad on the Maple Leafs, and could really do well in inspiring some of the younger talent. Similar to Thornton, a 4th line spot is perfect for Kessel. Maybe some magic for the Thrill is in order. Who knows? Looking forward to the next upcoming season in the Shark Tank as part of the assistant general manager's crew. Funny idea. I like this one at the end. For a name of the assistant GM crew could be the minimum Minnows. I don't know why, but it sounds good. I think it does as well. Let's go Sharks. So the AGMs, I could see them being called the Minnows from now on. I like that. Thank you very much, Golden. I appreciate that. And those are very fair thoughts about some potential free agents. A guy like Jonathan Drouin, a guy with upside, needs a change of scenery. I could see that. Other suggestions left from last episode from Mike. I remember him saying Zadina, Veleno, Kravtsovs. Those are guys that we could think about acquiring. Even Denis Gurianov was another guy. Either by trade or in free agency. And speaking of that Denis Gurianov suggestion, I totally forgot that it was actually this episode. It was Landon who left that comment. What a run. I absolutely cannot believe how good of a run that was. In the draft, you should definitely move up and add Meyer to that deal. For the offseason, not an absolute game-breaking move, but you should try to get Denis Gurianov from the Stars. Similar situation to Valery Nichushkin, as management isn't really too happy with his production IRL. He could be a great addition to the top 6 or top 9. Maybe the move to San Jose could boost his production. Great video as always. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Landon. We don't have much trade capital, which is why I'd prefer to go after these guys in free agency. But at the very least, even if we can't get them now, watch listing them and revisiting down the road would be no problem. And concerning trades, a lot of suggestions as well. We're saying, okay, maybe we burn it down, trade Vlasic, trade Carlson. But we also have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, the no movement, no trade clauses are still at play. For some guys like Logan Couture, if we did want to trade him, we could put some top teams in a randomizer and see what his list, quote, list would be. But until we're really sold on that move, we're not going to go in that direction just yet. Aaron leaves a comment echoing more of those Meyer thoughts. First, Zucker the Beast. Then I think Meyer will cost way too much to keep long term. We could package him with either one or both of our first round picks and move up to number 2 and grab Bedard or Mishkov. It would not be worth it for a medium elite prospect, but for a franchise defining player who, along with Eklund, will be on the top line of our team for most of this franchise mode, it's worth it. If that deal can't be made, I would at least try and move up a couple of picks and grab one of the last medium elite guys, Jaeger, Dvorsky, Benson, or maybe one falls at 9, but we'll see what happens. That said, I tend to agree with everything else with the pending UFAs and RFAs. We could probably find a better backup in free agency, look for value contracts, see if there's any decent prospects on the market. Other than that, you do you. The Sharks hired GM Data because of his outstanding pedigree, and I, for one, can't wait to see what next season brings. Thank you very much, Aaron. And finishing off in the comments section with Super Loser, who says, this is possibly the wackiest playoff run I've ever seen in an NHL game. Jason Zucker and Danny DeGoat turning into Prime Thornton and Marlowe. He scored 5 or 6 goals, right? He's scoring more than most of the forwards. Definitely a team to be proud of. Now for off-season thoughts. This may be an unpopular take, but I would trade Timo Meier. You could probably use him to get a top pick in the draft and really get this rebuild into gear. Also, re-sign Zucker. That playoff performance was simply too good to let him walk for nothing. I'd give X factors to Eklund, Zucker, and Danny DeGoat. Eklund because he's a young star, Zucker and DeKaiser because of their clutch playoff performances. Now, as you saw at the beginning of this episode, and thank you for that comment, Super Loser, there was so much love for Danny DeKaiser, Danny DK, Danny Deeks, Danny DeGoat. I was calling him Danny DeBello, maybe Danny Donkey Kong DeKaiser. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think I agree with Super Loser has to say here. If we can make a Timo Meier trade work, then I think we're going to explore it. So thank you for all the comments. There were a ton more, and I appreciate them. I take the time, couple hours to reply to all the paragraphs. I appreciate everyone being so invested in the series because it makes it that much more immersive for us. So headed into the draft here, I've been saying a lot of let's try and trade up for 1 and for 2, except... But it could be that those teams don't want to trade their picks. So even if we trade Meier, 2 firsts, 3 firsts, it's likely that they're not going to want to move those picks. So keep it in mind that it's very likely that we won't get these guys unless Carolina, who won the draft lottery, would want to make a trade at number 2. Other than that, we could look for guys at 4, 5, 6, 7, even 8 to get Zachary Benson. So that's more what I think will happen. In a perfect world, Meier and less value for 8th as opposed to Meier and 2 firsts for 2nd overall pick. But hey, if it happens, it happens. The Washington Capitals jumped from 13 to 2, I believe. They're a win now kind of team. They have Ovechkin, Carlson, Kuznetsov, Backstrom, Wilson, Oshie. These guys are still all high overalls. Mantha, Brown, Sonny Milano at an 83. The team hasn't really changed too much here in Washington. And no one's really, their core is still here. Their big guys are all signed on. It's 83 overalls and under who need to be re-signed. Goaltending, they have Darcy Kemper signed up. They're still a team that wants to be pushing. They're not looking for a rebuild just yet. So giving them another 87 overall winger plus 2 first-round picks. Not like I'm just giving them Meyer for Bedard or something. They're getting 2 first-round picks as well. So you know what? I could see it. But again, I have no idea if they want to trade their pick, and that's what we're about to find out. So let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. June 23rd, 2023. Let's hop into the draft and see, are any of the top 8 picks up for grabs? And the Capitals do want to trade their pick. Anyone else? 5. Okay, so 2 and 5 up for grabs. So we got to go all in on 2 before we think about 5 and seeing who we would get there. I don't even want to think about who we would get at 5. We got to go all in on 2. The Kings are going to take Mishkov, I believe, because he's the created player. We can create a storyline here to say that if he fell for whatever reason. It would be cool to see the next Ovechkin go to the Capitals and be molded by Ovi. So, oh, that's tough. That's tough because I want to make the storyline work. They won the draft lottery, and for their troubles, they're going to get 2 first-round picks and Timo Meier if they want to do that trade. But does it make sense? I feel like it does, but I also don't want myself to just be talking myself into it. But at the same time as well, I can't always be doing the computer's job for it. If it wants to trade their own pick, and they have all those expiring deals, they're going to have the cap space for Timo Meier. They're going to have more than enough with all those expiring low 80 overall guys. They're going to have a very powerful team, plus they get 2 more first-round picks for their future. So it's not like I'm leaving them high and dry. So I see the rationale, but I could also I could argue against it as well. What could I throw back the other way? Anyone who they want to get rid of? Hofer? This guy Hofer? Okay, just for the contract spot, I'll take this guy Hofer. Can I get more value? Or maybe I don't even have to give up this much. Let me just try Meier and the 18th overall pick. You're quite far off in value. Okay, you know what? Maybe we can get it for cheaper, but let's not cheese the system. This is probably how much it would take if we're looking at Mishkov or Bedard. Let's go 18 and 29. Maybe I can just take back something small, like just, hey, you want to throw me a bone, and here's like next year's 6th, and the year after that you throw me a 7th, just to say, like, there's some sort of conditions on the picks. I don't know, we're trying to create storylines, right? Timo Meier, who's going to get signed to a nice, juicy, long-term deal in Washington, picks 18 and 29 to Washington for the 2nd overall pick that they do want to trade, and a couple, 6th and a 7th in the next couple of years. What do you say to this, Washington? Out of nowhere, just a minute into the draft. Washington? Ooh, okay, quite close to fair value. We're giving them quite a bit here, I do have to say. Can I throw in some sort of rookie skater to make it worth your time? Top 6D for long... Like, let me just try something really small. Like here, Guriev. Or even McHugh. Low top 962, 20 years old. Let's try McHugh. I'll throw in both of them. You know what? I'll throw in both of them to say even more reason for them to do it. Even if they're low prospects, it's still 2 more prospects in their system. I'll do Jacobson, actually. 28, yeah, unsigned. You get 2 low-end prospects, 2 first-round picks, a first-line winger for the next 5, 6 years, whatever. What do you say to this, Washington? Still a bit off. And let me guess, the value now the trade is about to go out because in the last 30 seconds it always exits you out. Could I throw in another low pick? Could I add a 6th? I could just, basically we're swapping 6th. What do you say about this, Washington? Come on. Don't exit me out. Let me offer it. Proposed trade. Trade accepted! I am happy to accept this proposal on behalf of the Washington Capitals, and we consider it a done deal. Thank you, Washington. Enjoy Timo Meier. Timo, thank you for your lifelong service with the team. And Mishkov goes 1st overall. Medium franchise, 74 overall. Still about a year away, as he'll likely be in the real world. He's going to be an absolute tank. But we, with our 2nd overall pick, this is the storyline. He fell from number 1. He's angry. Divisional rival is going to be Bedard versus Mishkov. Oh, the storylines are there for the taking. Connor Bedard with the Regina Pats in 71 games this year in the WHL, 109 points. Really more of a sniper than a playmaker, but the game has him in that playmaking kind of category, even though I forget what he's listed as. Similar to Patty Kane, NHL ready, 17 years of age. Without further ado, let's head up to the podium. Hello, everyone. Congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes on their Stanley Cup championship. with the second overall selection in the 2023 NHL entry draft, the San Jose Sharks are proud to select from the Regina Pats, Connor Bedard. Welcome to the franchise, Bello. You are 79 overall, medium franchise. I could see Bedard going to the Sharks in the real world as well, so another reason why this is a great thing. You know what? We had a fun run last season. We turned pieces into the Nashville pick. We turned the Nashville pick with our own pick and Timo Meier into this. You know, we had a fun ride, and we get to have the top pick that we would have had with tanking, perhaps. So, Connor Bedard, welcome to San Jose. Mishkov and Bedard, what a storyline this is going to be for years to come. The third pick, this guy Chow, is probably even higher overall. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, there he is. 80 overall, medium elite. Charlie Chow, 80 overall. He's a great guy as well, but medium elite at 18 as opposed to medium franchise at 79. The Coyotes get Fantilli, who drops to 4, medium elite 74 overall, going to Arizona. And the Rangers get Manlow, medium elite 78 overall. So, wow, we don't pick until 61 now. I would love to trade up and get some other guys in the first round, second round maybe. We know in the second round that there's a medium elite goalie, I believe. So I'd love to make trades like that, but we really just don't have a trade value to play with. That's the problem. We don't have a lot of picks. We don't have a lot of anything to do here. Colby Barlow, maybe 3 bars, medium top 6. Semenov, medium elite 3 bars. But we don't have the value to trade up for a high pick like that. Schultz, this goalie, medium elite, 5 years away. I remember seeing him last episode. That would be great, but I don't know how we would swing that. I really don't know how we'd swing that. We could try for a guy like Woodworth, medium top 6, Luke Woodworth at 48, but I don't see us trading higher than like the 50s. And we could go after a 3-bar, there is a 2-bar medium elite, Tommaso De Luca, who's a real player, a real Italian player in the WHL in the real world. I think that's a really cool story. He's going to be like the first NHL player from Italy. There is this guy, Vero, as well, 5'9", playmaker, 3 years away. No, not really speaking to me. I might just go for our pick and take a risk on a guy who's 2 bars, top 6 or something like that. Or even this guy, 3 bars, medium top 6, Kostitsyn. I think that's what I'm going to do, as opposed to trying to trade up and find some... Because, again, I'm just going to show you the trade value. It really isn't much. Even if we trade some guys like Shemek or whatever other contract that's lower down on our depth charts, it's not a lot of value. Like Matt Benning, like, we could trade him, sure, but Matt Benning and our second-round pick, maybe, because I don't want to use that second-round pick, maybe. But I like Matt Benning. He was really good this past season. 18 points, negative 12 on the year. Postseason, 3 assists, even plus minus. I liked Matt Benning. But is he here after next season? Actually, yeah, he's signed long term. So keeping him probably makes more sense. I don't think we're going to do it. I don't think so. Because even then, if there was a guy who guaranteed me an elite, I would think about it. But it would be trading away value to take a risk. Not something that I really want to do. So after these top picks in the first round, we see Jaeger going, Dvorsky, Benson would have gone at 8. Yeah, Crystal, Levis, Raymond, Allen, medium elite, Haltinen, Gauthier. Wait, Gauthier was high top 9. We were even thinking about him at one point. Justin Coté, also high top 9. Yikes. Medium top 4, medium top 6. Yeah, the real players are usually, you know, nothing incredibly insane. Into the second round, still seeing some more real players. Scholes was medium elite 56 overall, going to the Dallas Stars. Lynn, Barlow was medium top 6 in the end. Yeah, lots of good players, lots of good picks, lots of real picks. I prefer having real players in the franchise, but it's unfortunate. And DeLuca's only medium top 9, but it's unfortunate because a lot of them are not that great. Like if you're outside of the first or second round, you are not. There's no real player who's medium elite in the 4th round. Only generated players. So we could go for Uranen, 2 bars, medium top 6. But I'd probably prefer this guy Kostitsyn, who's 3 bars, top 6. Because aside from that, it's 2 bars everything. It's 2 bars. There's 3 bar low top 6. This guy Bruce, Sam Bruce. But I'm going to trade down a little bit to take Kostitsyn, recoup a little bit of value. And I'm going to see who wants to trade maybe into the, maybe like 10 picks from now. Could I get 67 and you give me a 6th and a 7th next season? Trade rejected. Just a 7th. Oh, yeah. We aren't even close to that. Yeah. I want to trade back 7 picks. You can't even give me a 7th. I want to trade up like 1 pick. Oh, well, you better add a 6th round pick. That's a big joke. So forget it. At pick number 61, we'll just take the guy that we want. I'm not going to play any games. Let's go ahead and draft him. He is a Russian centerman, I believe he was. if these menus could ever stop being so sticky. Come on, you can do it, you can do it. And I'd missed him totally, my apologies. Boris Kostitsyn, medium top 6, 18 years of age, 4 years away, so he's not going to be high in overall or anything, but hopefully he has the potential. Boris, let's see it, buddy! Medium top 9, disgusting. Oh boy, alright, let's just go to pick 96. We don't have value, let's just make these picks. Year number 1 draft is never anything too incredible, so I'm not going to waste our time trying to find the magic 2-bar low elite guy who's actually really elite. We see some 2-bar. I see 2-bar medium top 4. Is he real? Kalen Parker, he's real, so he's probably not actually medium top 4. That's the thing. Yet later, you can't take real players. So I'm going to go for Straight. This guy, what's his name? Eddie Straight, 6'4" centerman. He's Austrian. Let's go for it. The Austrian from the NLA. He is low top 9. Yikes. All right, let's just go to pick 142 and get out of here. And you know what? Actually, that was an interesting trade from the Canadians. Hold on, they had an let me if I put this trade on the block, this pick on the block, what would they be offering me? 142. Yeah, I could get some rights to some players here with this 5th round pick. Good Branson, Will Butcher, interesting. No. Patan Dadonov, Evgeny Dadonov, Eric Howla even, but I could see Evgeny Dadonov being an interesting kind of guy for us. Yeah, I could see it. You know what? Let me just I'm curious. Evgeny Dadonov. He could be that middle 6 guy, or yeah, that we would have gotten in free agency anyways. We can just get him for free. We get a 5th round pick next season instead of a garbage prospect now. 84 overall. Fits the second line maybe. You know what? I'm gonna do it. Let's do it. Thank you very much, Mr. Hughes. Let's do it. A 5th for a 5th, plus I get the rights to Evgeny Dadonov. Don't mind if I do. Advance the pick and you get an AHL high top 6 player. Lovely. At least he's French, so that's great for the Quebec morale. 214e, 214th overall. Anything sorting by potential. 2-bar medium elite. Yeah, let's just go for him. Len Cole from Extraliga. He is medium 7th D. Yikes. Yikes of a draft in year number 1 as per usual. But, you know, I don't want to cheese it any more than we already feel like we have to with the teams wanting to trade their picks. I'm not going to trade my 2nd for a 2nd next year. Really, the Sharks would say we can use all the picks that we can get. But Connor Bedard is a Shark. That is huge for the future of this franchise. We're going to re-sign a couple scouts. Coaches are all still here. Let me take care of the management side of things, and then we'll get into the contracts. Alright, so that's taken care of. The calculator is out. Let's head into the re-sign phase now. So Timo Meier off the team. Thank you for your service here with the Sharks, my friend. But the core will have to move on without you with that kind of demand. Go get it in Washington. Go win your cups with Ovi and Kuzi and Carlson. Go be a part of that core moving forward. Evgeny Dadonov, 84 overall, 34 years of age. Obviously a candidate to regress. If it's the right number, I'm okay with re-signing him. You know what? 2 years at 2.75, that would be pretty solid, but I'd rather go 1 year. 2.65, and what did he do last year, by the way? Sorry, let me check this. Let's see the numbers from last season. 7 goals, 25 assists, so yeah, not a great season. 32 points in 70 games. But I don't think it's simulation. I think it's more the people that he was around, because 4-star shooting, 90 deking, 87 offensive awareness should be better than that. So 1 year at, let's say, like 2.35, little reclamation project. I wouldn't mind that, for even if he's like an 83 by the end of next season, by the start of next season. I wouldn't mind that. 2.35 for Dadonov. Let's see what he says. Jason Zucker, the hero in the postseason. He wants to get paid a little bit. This is another guy that I wouldn't want to go really long term on, but I do want to reward him for how good he was. I'm not going to go 4 or 5 years, but I think I don't want to go 1 either, because if he continues to do very well, now he'll really want a lot. Let's go 2 years, meet in the middle, not 1, not 3, let's go 2. He wants 2.35, which is way less than he was making before, 5.5. So 2 years, 2 mil basically. He was not good in the regular season, but he had a crazy postseason. He would have been floating around free agency for a long while, but I'm giving him $4 million for the next 2 years to come and play in San Jose and prove that he can keep doing it, and then maybe get another 2-year contract to go a little bit more. So let's see what Zucker has to say. 2 years at $2 million per. Knyzhov now, who should be a big part of our blue line moving forward. He would want 5 years at 4.47. You know what? In EA land, that's pretty much what defensemen cost. After 5 years, it starts to go up. He has medium top 4D potential. I think this is a reasonable ask. So 4.475. I don't want to always 85% it. It's just in situations where I think like the player's asking for too much. So 85% would be 3.8. I think 5x4 would be a fair middle ground. $20 million for 5 years. He hasn't shown too much yet, but he's been eating a lot of minutes, and I like what I've seen. So I'm going to commit $20 million to Knizhov and give him $4 million per for the next 5 years to be a fixture on the blue line. The last bigger piece to get signed would be Evgeny Sveshnikov, who was solid in a top 9 role. Another guy that I don't want to go too long on. I want him to prove himself a bit more. 85% would be 1.78. I wouldn't want to go that low. Let's try 2 years at 1.9 for Evgeny Sveshnikov and 81 overall. Let's see what he has to say. 2 years at 1.9. I think that's a pretty fair deal. And after that, I think I can take care of most of the rest of these guys off screen. Oh, hold on. Danny DK de Kaiser. Let's see what we got. 1 year, 1.6. Yeah, I can do that. I can do 1 year at 1.5 for you, Danny. Let's do that. I know that we don't want to... He's not going to be that great next season, probably. But for what he did in the postseason, he gets himself $1.5 million. Why not? Aside from that, like Seuss, guys like that, I'm going to let go. In the UFAs, for the RFAs, most of these guys will come back. Merkley's going to get a contract. Like maybe Hofer, the guy we got in the Bedard deal, he's not going to get re-signed. And then, of course, finally the goaltenders. Riddick, what's he asking for right now? 1.775. We have a lot of goalies got to get signed, actually. Oh, boy. Actually, so Goudreau here, who's 69 overall at the age of 20. Benjamin Goudreau. I'm going to let him walk just because we have way too many other guys fighting for time here. Strauss Mann, I'm also going to let him walk. And then we'll have to decide between these other guys. But let's just advance a day and see what comes. So Dadonov is interested in an extension, but not at the dollar value and the years. Okay, gotcha. Same for Zucker. Knizhov's on board. So is Sveshnikov. De Kaiser wants to test free agency. Come on, buddy. Sure you do. We still have 16.94 million. So I'm going to take care of some of the other stuff off screen in a moment. Hold on. I forgot that I was going to take care of that before advancing a day. But... Dadonov wants a 2-year deal. I really don't want to do 2 years. So I'm going to pay him more to keep him at 1. So let's go 2.5 for 1 year, Evgeny. 1 year at $2.5 million for him. Jason Zucker, I wanted 2 years at $2 million. So let me try 2 years at 2.15. Let's go up there a little bit. De Kaiser, come on, buddy. You're not going to get paid that much in free agency. 1 year, 1.55. Come on, eat that up. Here we go. Now I'll take care of everybody else off screen, and then we'll advance a day. All right, so advancing a day now. Let's see what we have when we... Hold on, for well, a couple scouts. Just a couple, thankfully. Easy decision from Dadonov. Okay, 1 year at $2.5 million for Dadonov. An interesting trade, and hopefully becomes a very good value deal for us. And Jason Zucker also on board. Gadjevich. Grigor doesn't want a 2-way. Oh, that was my apology. I shouldn't have offered him a 2-way. That was an accident. Fonstad, Merkley, Reedy, Makiniemi, Lindbergh, De Kaiser still rejects. Guriev, one of our prospects, back on. Okay, so we have 13.655 to play with. UFAs, Victor Rask, I was going to re-sign him, but if he's going to be in a fourth line role, I'd prefer someone who I can trust more on the penalty kill. He was our first line center in the AHL last year. I'd want to bring him to the NHL. He's not quite good enough for the fourth line role that I'd want him to be in, and he wants too much money to be an AHLer, so I'm going to release Victor Rask. Danny De Kaiser, come on, buddy. You're lucky that I have money. 1.625, fine. Matt Nieto, for a guy who had like 9 points in 40 games last year, I can find better depth for cheaper than 1.4 million. So I'm going to release Matt Nieto. Also Harrington, I will release at the age of 30 now. RFAs, Grigor, I'm going to get him. Weatherby's qualified because he wants too much. So I'm going to give him a one-way deal, Noah Grigor. 1 way, 2 years to keep him as an RFA. At exactly what he's asking for. Because Noah Grigor, I could see him doing well. He had a solid season in postseason. And of course, let's get Connor Bedard signed up. 79 overall. Let's give him his entry-level contract. Bing, bang, bong. Goaltenders with Makiniemi and Lindbergh both signing on. That just leaves David Riddick. Is he going to be our backup? Do we get another backup? Or does Makiniemi possibly get a chance at the role? And then Lindbergh can be our AHL starter? But at the very least, I need an AHL third goalie or backup. I'm not sure. So Zachary Imo will be that player. I'm going to give him just 1 year because I really don't know what's up with the goalies just yet. So Imo will be either AHL backup or third goalie, 6th round pick in 2018. And David Riddick now. I don't think we sign him, although the price isn't bad, and he simulated extremely well. But you know what? Worst case, we trade him. I'm gonna try to sign David Riddick because I like how well he simulated. It's not that there's probably better overall goalies out there in free agency, but it's all about how he simmed. So 1.775, 85% of that is 1.508 even. So 1.525 for Riddick. If he wants to come back, he's gonna fight for the backup role against Makiniemi. Either he's going to lose and get traded, or win, and Makiniemi will probably play with Lindbergh in the AHL. We'll figure it out. But there's something to be said about finding a goalie who sims well in franchise mode, so that's why I'd prefer to hang on to him. Another scout there. Easy decision from Riddick. Easy decision from Gregor. Easy decision from Imo. And still rejection from Danny DeKeyser. And of course, Connor Bedard signs on officially a San Jose Shark. But it makes no sense why Danny DeKeyser does not want to resign. So I'll try it one last time, and if not, I'm just going to get him in free agency. Thankfully, we have money. We love the story. 1.75. Get in here, Danny. And let's sim to the start of free agency. And he still rejects, so bye-bye, Danny. We'll get you on July 1st when your EA brain resets. Makes no sense that the guy wants he's a 79 overall, up there in age, and he wants, in terms of like potential and regression, and he wants 200K, he's rejecting 200K more than I'm offering. Regardless, anyways, I'm going to go hire some new scouts in the hire staff screen. I don't think we're going to touch the coaches. I'm going to hire some new scouts. Then we'll dive into July 1st free agent frenzy and see if there's anyone available who piques our interest. Alright, so scouting offers sent out. I offered like 9 new scouting contracts, all part of the process. Free agent frenzy, July 1st. Who is available first? We got to jump right to the UFAs. Of course, I'm not surprised that Timo Meier is an RFA. His asking price was crazy, but the Capitals should be able to find money for him with so many people not re-signing. He still wants, so I knew that it was going to come down a bit. Like, for example, his 6-year demand would go from 15 down to, I was assuming it would be like 11, but I see it's still at 12.5. Still way too much for a guy who scores 30 goals, 57 points. If he was scoring point per game plus and he was wanting 10 million at 85%, I would consider it. But I think Timo Meier's ask was just too much, and I didn't want to risk qualifying him because if another team tried to offer sheet him, we wouldn't have gotten any compensation. So that being said, we close the chapter on Timo Meier. Looking at the UFAs, Patrice Bergeron, Tarasenko, Klingberg, Pavelski, who some have mentioned bringing him home. Bunting, Stahl, Ghost here. So first, let's look, where should we be addressing our needs? I know we definitely need some AHL support because a lot of those players are just fill-ins or whatever. But if we look at the forwards, with Evgeny Dadonov now in the system, 1, 2, and we don't even have a big first-line guy, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Not ideal. Minus Bordelot, put in Bedard. Actually, Bedard's already there. So yeah, there's 12 right there with Bordelot. Who's not going to be in the NHL next season yet, I don't think. And that's, that's Hurdle, Dadonov. Who else is on the first line? We could use a first line winger. I don't know if it's going to be someone who's going to want to commit here long term. That's why a short term guy like Joe Pavelski, I could see that. I don't know if we could get a big guy to commit here longer term. I'm not sure. And on defense, we know that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the moment with Šimek, Benning in the bottom pair, Ferraro, Vlasic the second pair. I'm okay with Knizhov, Karlsson on the second, but a better second pair guy. Vlasic can play third. Šimek or Benning can be 7th D. So, like a mid-range D, 83, 84 overall range maybe, plus a top 6 winger. Even with Dadonov added, it's not quite enough just yet. So let's go back to the UFAs. First, sorting by the forwards. We see Tarasenko. A guy like Tarasenko or Bergeron, they only have a couple years left. They want to chase a cup. There may be, not Tarasenko, a couple years left. But even Pavelski, the only reason I think Pavelski makes sense is because it's San Jose, but Bergeron wouldn't make sense. Pavelski comes home to San Jose. I could see it. Pacioretty wouldn't make much sense. A guy like Bunting might make some sense here. 4 years, a 4-year contract for him. Max Domi, a 5-year contract might make sense. Jonathan Toews, Andreas Janssen, Gustav Nyquist, Jonathan Drouin, someone else that we were thinking about. 5 years at 4.37. The man, no, that's the cheapest it gets. A 5-year deal for him, bringing him to the age of 33. No, he's not a guy we've ever really had, like, at all in any of our franchise modes. He went to Minnesota at the deadline last year, scored 11 points in 20 games, and in the postseason, did not play, actually. Didn't make the postseason. 41 points in 62 games with the Canadiens. I could see Drouin working out for the story. I could see it. Top 6 winger. Do we know anything about his fit? Not much. Oh, no, 3 bars. Still not ideal. Domi's okay. But doesn't really fit. Plus, and again, the fit doesn't really matter without X factors. But he wants way more than Drouin. 5.85 and someone's interested versus Drouin 4.3 and no one's interested. And defense, by the way, I keep forgetting about De Kaiser. I was counting the defense. De Kaiser, yeah, he's always also there. And Michael Bunting wants 6.5. In EA land, he's not the same as the real world. 54 points is good, but do I want to pay him $6.5 million for 4 years? Joe Pavelski's also tempting to bring home. Carolina's interested. I have to pay him like 1 year, $7 million. And what did he do last season? 18 goals, 40 assists. That's a lot for 58 points. That's a lot of money. Tough situation to be in. Even Barbashev, a guy like Barbashev, like wanting $3 million, 83 overall kind of guy, but no one is doing crazy numbers. A lot of really interesting guys for us here. I wouldn't mind a 4th-line centerman also. But the more I think about it, the more Drouin makes sense for me. Nyquist is a bit older. I could do the 5 years on Drouin, and we could trade him later on. I wouldn't mind getting a guy for 1, 2, or 3 years as well. Be a guy that we could think about trading down the road, getting value out of. Like, would Jordan Staal want to come to San Jose for a 1-year thing? $4 million, Mr. Penalty Kill. I could see Jordan Staal working as a 3rd-line centerman, even though he's an 85. He's going to regress a bit more. I could see it. 1 year, $4 million. He wants 2 years. I'm going to offer him exactly what he's looking for. Let's see if Jordan Staal wants to come here. Instead of Joe Pavelski, the storyline's cool, but I'm going to think Jordan Staal, 1 year, $4 million. Jonathan Drouin, 5 years at a reasonable price tag. I'm going to give him 4.4 for 5 years. Give him $22 million for over the next 5 years, and hopefully he works out. I could see it. I could see it. Jonathan Drouin. Let's see if he accepts. So that would eat up $8.8 million in the cap. We'd still have another $4 million to play with. Going into defense now. Guys like Ghost are really tempting. Ghost has a left-handed D. But again, in EA land, I don't know, 33 points last season. 5-star shooting is cool. 5-star puck sales, excuse me. But 86 shot blocking. I need a guy who's going to be just eating it up. Because we were pretty strong defensively last year thanks to these like role player kind of guys. Is Ghost the guy to sign a 5-year deal at the age of 30 with the Sharks? I could even see a Gavrikov or a Graves kind of guy. I could see Ryan Graves. Defensive defenseman, 4-star defense. I could see him doing the job of what a lot of the 79 overalls are doing, but just doing it a bit better. We could try like 4 years at 4.6. It would be tight salary-wise. It would be tight. It would be pretty tight. I'd be looking more in the 3 range, but when we get into the 3s, we're getting into the veteran type of guys, and that's not bad either. A guy like Alex Edler. Like, what kind of identity are we trying to have? It's not easy. Alexandre Carrier, offensive defenseman. I like him a lot. 26 points. I'm doing a lot of thinking out loud right now. But a veteran kind of guy who could help us and also maybe be a trade piece if things don't work out. I'm going to give him 2 years because he wants less at 2 years. Alex Edler, 2 years at 2.2. Let's see what he says. Alex Edler, a veteran guy. He's been in the Pacific Division like his whole career. Let's see if he wants to come to San Jose for $2.2 million. I'm not looking for a big splash on defense. Like a Ryan Graves kind of guy. I'm not sure if we're at that point just yet. Aside from that, let's scroll down and find Danny DK. Here he is, still wanting 1.725 for some reason. 1 year, yeah, there you go, 1.225. That's more reasonable. So 1 year at 1.250. That's what I'm going to give you, Danny. I think that's about it. Aside from that, we can look for any possible potential kind of guys. But I'm not looking to make a big splash at $12 million. I think getting like 4 value pieces as opposed to let's get a big fish would be the right move here. Other goalies that we saw that we could have gotten as a backup, maybe a guy like Jonathan Bernier at an 82, but it would have costed the same as Riddick just for an overall or 2 higher. Plus, again, there's value in being able to trust the guy simulating well. Hopefully, he can keep it up. Last but not least, we look for players with value, especially to fill up the AHL system. The UFAs. Yeah, we see Cody Glass. He's be an interesting reclamation kind of project. I'm going to get Cody Glass, Vesalainen even here. Christian Vesalainen. Why not? Vesalainen. I'm going to throw out some contracts to other guys. Phillips, maybe Brown, Blickfeld, former Shark. And then we'll start advancing a day and see who wants to sign on. All right, so I think I've sent out enough offers. It's difficult. I got to find two-way guys because the one-way salary cap, I don't want anyone to not sign because of that. So we've sent out a few ideas of offers, what I think would be best for this franchise. Not committing too much and trying to get guys who would never come here at this point. But, you know, we were a good team last year. We lost some pieces, but we're trying to sell some players on saying, hey, come here, one weird deal like Alex Edler, you know, it doesn't work out, we'll trade you. Let's see what you can do, try and chase a little cup, get paid a little bit of money. And now we'll see who wants to join in on the project here in San Jose. Krutel, a prospect, is on board, the first one to sign. Welcome. Don't want to make any trades right now. Advancing another day. This should be where we get some answers. Alex Edler, extremely happy to accept the offer. Welcome aboard, my friend. Jonathan Drouin, welcome. We're going to try and jumpstart and restart, whatever you want to call it. Reclaim, rejuvenate your career, Jonathan. I'm looking forward, actually, to having him on this team. I'm pretty excited for this one. Cody Glass, 1 year, $1 million. Let's try and save him as well. Tyler Madden, I really wanted to sign him. He was an RFA. But I don't know why he said there wasn't enough. I offered him more than he was asking for. Matthew Phillips, Danny DeKeyser, Christian Vesalainen, Samu Tuamala, all signing on. All right, anyone left now in free agency? Jordan Staal, of course. Again, another guy that we're trying to sell on. Come here, do your thing, see if it works. He got a Stanley Cup in Carolina. Now just get paid and, you know, play some hockey. Bang! Jordan Staal, welcome to the team, my friend. Cash offer, most generous. That's what they're looking for. They want cash. He has his ring. Now he just wants to get paid. Enjoy the beach in California. I think that signing absolutely makes sense for us. $4.995 million. Actually, yeah, we have more cap space than I thought still around. So now we go back. Who is still out here? Maybe some demands have changed a little bit. Let's reevaluate the roster. Looking at the forwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right there. Cody Glass, though, Nico Sturm, I'm not sold on them being a part of the team just yet. Actually, Connor Bedard, is he not here? Did they put him in the system? Yeah, Bedard would actually be on the team. So let's just say the first line would be something like Eklund, Hurdle, and Dadonov, just throwing names out there. Second line, Couture, Drouin, and Lindblom, I guess. Maybe third line, Cunnins, Zucker, and Bedard. And then fourth line is Svechnikov, Sturm, and Glass/Grigor. Something like that. But I think I'll have to say the forwards are set. Now, the defense, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Carlson, Knizhov, first pair. Let's say Edler, Ferraro, second pair. Vlasic and, actually, Merkley, third pair. Yeah, that's true. Merkley want to get in here. That leaves Shimek to just be trade bait, I think, at this point, because 7th D can be DeKeyser. So we don't really need to make a trade then. I think it's powerful to have cap space as well, because that will allow us to weaponize it if and need be. Always tempting to spend to the cap, but I think that we can avoid doing it. It's not necessary at this point. Last thing to do before we sim to next season will be, first, let's add the X factors. We're going to give some to Eklund, Zucker, and DeKeyser. So let's take care of that. I'm still open to taking suggestions headed into next episode, but at this point in his career, 81 overall, I think I'm going to start William Eklund out with tape-to-tape and third eye for his passing ability. Jason Zucker, of course, getting born leader for his leadership that he demonstrated in the postseason. And Danny Donkey Kong DeKeyser will get the exact same. I considered giving him like a shot blocking X factor, but in the game he doesn't seem to block as much as he does in the real world, nor does he even block in the real world as much as he used to. In the NHL, he had 5 blocks in 9 games. Like, it's not bad. He blocks shots. In the AHL, he blocked almost 2 shots a night in the AHL, 109 in 60 whatever games. So he still has the ability to block. He does block. I'm not saying that. He has 87 shot blocking. He is a good shot blocker. But the thing is, if I start giving him with 87 shot blocking and a shot blocking X factor, it wouldn't be fair. I'd have to give it to like the top 25 shot blockers in the NHL. I don't want to give us an unfair advantage in that way. So, born leader for Danny DK DeKeyser. And the very last thing to do before we sim to the preseason will be to check out the draft class quality and generated prospect quality. If you haven't watched an off-season video before, how we do it here on the channel, thanks to a suggestion back in the day from Jukesy, we randomize, a number between 1 and 100. Usually what the scale we've been using is if it's between 1 and 30, we set it to low. 31 to 69, we set it to medium, and 70 to 100, we set it to high. Sometimes you do it 1 to 20, but I think 1 to 30 is a fair range. So I'm going to randomize a number between 1 and 100, and for the draft class quality for the 2024 draft, it will be medium exactly. It's 50, smack dab in the middle. And for generated prospect quality, we get 66, so also medium. So another medium class, as would be the norm. Medium, we've seen high, low, high, high. But this year will be, 2024 will be another medium class. All right, so that's finally all taken care of. Let's simulate to the beginning of the preseason and see how this team looks headed into year number 2. All right, so working on the lines here at the beginning of the preseason, I think I've come to a conclusion. Although these lines are pretty solid, Eklund, Hertl, Dadonov, Drouin, Couture, Zucker, Bedard, Stahl, Cunnin, Krai, Lindblom, Glass, Sturm. I don't want Lindblom being a fourth liner. We relegated him to a lot of fourth line time in the Flyers franchise mode. He's been good. He's been a second liner. He can't play fourth line. I think I underestimated the amount of 80s and 79s that we'd have, the surprise of Cody Glass. I think what we're going to do before the season even starts is trade Evgeny Dadonov. A one-year contract guy. He was never going to stay longer than that. We can consider it a sign and trade. Montreal just wanted to dump him so that for whatever transactional reason they had to. We gave him a contract, and now we immediately trade him before he even plays a game with us. If we do that, that allows Drouin to go to the top line, for example. Let's say Bedard can go to the second line, just throwing random things out there. Lindblom can come to the third, and then down on the fourth line, we can get Evgeny Sveshnikov in here, who, yes, I don't like him being on the fourth line there either, but we will give him special teams, and he played a lot of fourth line minutes last season. We'd find a way to make it work. And, worst case, some players are not performing. We can still mix around the bottom six a little bit. I'm liking the center depth a lot more, though. And Connor Bedard, do we put him as a centerman? I don't know, 72 faceoffs. Do we send him back to junior even and try to tank even more this year? Also a possibility. On defense, Knizhov, Carlson, Edler, Ferraro, Vlasic, Merkley, I'd like to try, squeeze that value out of him. Or do we send him to the AHL for another season? This leaves De Kaiser scratched, Gregor scratched, and down in the AHL, we'd have players who could play in the NHL, such as both the low now at a 79, surprisingly, Reedy at a 79, Vesalainen 78, even Matt Benning and Shemek both 79 overalls. So we could free up some money and a bit of the logjam of 79, 80 overall guys here. Right? Let's say we trade Shemek and Dadonov in a deal, get just a pick or a prospect, and move on with our lives. So the lines are not set yet. But these are the, we're moving into the end of the episode. That's what we're going to have to consider when it comes to your suggestions by the end of this one. By the way, I saw Joe Pavelski signed with the Hurricanes, reigning Stanley Cup champions. Makes a lot more sense that he would go and sign with them, as much as we wanted to get him. For the player search, I know we're thinking about Gurionov and Veleno and all these guys. It's just we don't have the trade value. Or at least we didn't. But maybe now we do if we want to go and pick one of these guys up. But it would contribute to the logjam even more. They're watch listed. We'll keep note. Kravtsov, by the way, is an RFA. Name a better duo, the Rangers and RFAs. So we'll just close it out by looking at the trade blocks around the NHL. We definitely have a fair amount of trade value if we were to say, okay, even Lindblom and Cunnin have a good amount of, a really good amount of value. If we're looking at, and by the way, Pickering, also a 77. There's more people on the way. Bystedt at a 73. There are more on the way. We even signed Bystedt, right? Because he's playing in the SHL. Yeah, we could sign him for the AHL. Do we sign Philip Bystedt? That's another question. Kniazev, however it's going to get pronounced. So, Dadonov with whoever else. We have, Benning. These two guys together could get a decent haul. Anyways, just looking at the trade blocks around the NHL, for anything that we may want to target. Prospects in particular. Picks, you can get it from any team. But prospects in particular, scrolling through, sorting by overall. Let me know if anyone piques your fancy. Some expiring deals like Silverberg, Henrique over on Anaheim. Arizona has Nemeth, and nothing else too crazy. Nothing much on Boston. Nobody on the Sabres. Calgary, we see Matt Coronado, Pospisil, Stromgren, Levis, okay. Carolina, Brent Burns, Slavin, Pesci. Oof, tempting stuff, but I don't know if we're the team to look for big guys on expiring deals just yet. Killorn, other depth pieces. Blackhawks have some prospects. Avalanche, couple prospects. Bocage. Voracek, Hall, Robinson, Corrali, Cogliano on Columbus. Some names here in Dallas, headlined by Ryan Suter. Few prospects here in Detroit, headlined by Marco Casper. Wallander also up here. Okay. Edmonton, we see Evan Bouchard in RFA. Okay. Florida Panthers, Morris, yeah, a lot of random prospects, including McLean, low top 6. That's interesting. Ryan Ellis in LA, Mark Stahl and Nick Patan over in Minnesota. No one in Montreal. Nashville, a lot of names here, including Dante Fabro. Really? Ryan Johansson, Afanaseyev, Evangelista. Yeah, some names. New Jersey Devils, Palat, Alexiak, Mayfield, Schultz, and Tierney. Islanders, nobody, surprisingly. Rangers, Robertson, Skinner, and even, not on the block, but Kravtsov is an RFA. Matthew Robertson also there. Senators, nobody. Flyers, Ryan Murray and Nick Jensen. Random prospects in Pittsburgh. Seattle, Kuzmenko. That's true, now he's in the game. Andrei Kuzmenko on the block in Seattle. Sniper with 4-star shooting. 1 year left on his deal. St. Louis, Shen and Neighbors, both on the block. Tampa Bay, Kajovic, excuse me. Knees, Kokinen, Dargachintsev, Carlson. Who's this guy? Is it, yeah, Leo Carlson, 21st overall pick in this last draft, medium top 6. Vancouver Canucks, we see a lot of names. Jet Wu, Dragicevic, who was just drafted 22nd overall. Yermo, yeah, okay. Vegas, Martinez, McNabb, and Roy. Washington. Timo Meier, doesn't make sense. Why are they signing like Kyle Okposo, who was a free agent, for $2 million? You could have had, you had 1.4 plus 2.2. That gives you whatever, 4 million, close to 4 million to play with. You go, and who else did you sign for no reason when you didn't have to? Like, you didn't have to do any of this. Eric John, like, why are you going to sign Eric Johnson for 4.3, Okposo for 2.2? I did not put the Capitals in a bad position. They had more than enough money to sign Timo Meier. And they're giving crazy contracts, or just big contracts to players that they don't need. At least they let guys like White walk or whoever else. But they did not have to spend 4, 2 plus 3. They had the money to get Timo Meier on a 1-year deal or whatever they wanted to do. Why do you say... Like, sometimes you trade a guy to a team and the computer will say, no, we don't want him. We don't have the money to afford him. That message exists. We don't want to make this trade because we have to save our money. That exists. Why is that message not coming up on a team like Washington? But I digress. Hopefully they sign Meier. I feel like the logic was sound. It's just upsetting that now that's happening. Hendricks, Lapierre, Alexiev also on the block in Washington. Winnipeg, Rutger, McGroarty. We already took Chaz Lucius from them, so I won't want to take much more. And there you go. The trade blocks heading into 2023-24. So ladies and gentlemen, I will call it right there. We definitely have some pieces to move around. We could also consider extensions for any expiring deals now that the next season has begun. Aside from the guys we just signed, like Oscar Lindblom would be asking for around, like it gets big after 1 year. So yeah. Cunnin right now would be asking for 2.4. Okay, after 2 years, again, it gets big after... But it changes throughout the year. I wouldn't care about this number. This number's not going to stay like that. 1 year, 4.4. 2 years, 2.4. 3 years, 4.4. Like, it's so frustrating. It makes no sense. And Kakinen, the big one, are starting... Actually, no, he does not want an extension. Wait. Yeah, he does. So why would it not let me sign Kakinen? Why wouldn't I didn't just give him a contract? Forget it. Forget it. All those things be kept in mind down here in the comments section on YouTube or over on the Discord server. We'd love to have you. The link is in the description if you want to add your thoughts to the series or any of your live thoughts whenever I have live questions during recording, as I often do have. And of course, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for all of our NHL 23 content and much, much more. And if you enjoyed this offseason, leave a like. I'd love to hear your comments. Let me know the positives, the negatives. What did you like? What didn't you like? What do you wish I would have done? What was surprising at you that I did that you liked? I want to hear all of your thoughts. I thought it was a strong offseason, good draft, solid free agent signings. We'll see what comes of what. The Dadonov trade was really cool in my mind. We got good value, but now we don't really have room for him. So I want to hear, what are your thoughts for the lineup? Who do you want to see getting a chance in the preseason as well? All for your suggestions to come. So thank you for taking the time to watch, for leaving your comments. It is very much appreciated. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again in the next one, where we will begin year number 2 with the Sharks.